You ready to move forward with a brand new plan and a whole new year? The 3 critical steps you need lie just ahead right here on Success Charger. You're listening to Idea Charger Radio. Hello, friends, and welcome back to Success Charger. This is Scott. It is episode 17, and man, I'm coming off a fantastic weekend. I hope you are too. We just had a long holiday weekend here with Thanksgiving in the U.S., and it was just a great time to get together with friends and family. My beloved football team did not win this weekend. It was kind of a tough one. We took it on the chin, but I'm going to pick myself back up and celebrate the fact that we've had yet another fantastic banner 10-plus win year, and I say plus because we're going to win that bowl game. Doesn't matter. We're going to win. I know we will. Not like we lost last weekend. Why? Because I'm thinking positive, and I hope you are too, because if you look back over 2015 and you're thinking about your business a little bit, you're probably saying, this did not end up the way I thought it was going to this year, and you may be right. Now, the question is, did it turn out better? Or is it a little more challenging than you thought it was going to be at this time? Well, never fear, no matter where you are in the process, it's time. This is that critical time of the year to make sure that you finish this year strong and get ready to kick into gear for next year. If it doesn't happen to be next year, if you're listening to this later on, if you download this podcast later on down the road somewhere, maybe something's just happened. There's been a change within your employment status, within your company, your organization, the opportunities in front of you. Whatever the change is that's occurred, if you're listening to this, you might be saying, hey, I'm at an inflection point in my career, and this is really what you need to do. Today, we're going to unveil to you a simple 3-step plan that are all you need to know to get things going in the right direction. So let's just jump right into it. Step 1, hit the reset button. Now, I've got one of these.
That was easy.
That really sounded funny. Last time I listened to that, his voice was a little lower.
That was easy.
Right? So I have this thing called an easy button. Staples, who is not a sponsor of this show, came out with those a few years ago and had this big red button that sits on my desk. And my daughter found this was funny when she was learning to talk.
That was easy.
She still loves to come in my office, climb up on my desk and hit that button. But similar to hitting the easy button, I want you to just hit the reset button. Okay? No matter where you are, let's do this. I don't care what happened to you up until this point this year or in your career. It doesn't matter. In fact, you shouldn't care about it either. And let me qualify that. You see, there's a lot of people who have not met you yet. And they only know what they're going to see as they meet you in the future. They only see the new you. They don't know the old you. All right? So what I mean is that I want you to be mindful of the past, but I'd like for you to just let it go. Sometimes that means that you get a change of venue, right? You may move to a different city. Maybe you move to a different company, or you do what I did a few years back and you completely switch industries, right? And that's entirely possible. And what I wanted to do was I knew what the transferable skills were from my last job, but I couldn't keep holding on to the wins, to the losses. I want to be mindful of them. I want to look at what part of that is transferable and repeatable. But before I knew that I could take a step forward, and before you can too, you have to acknowledge and accept and let go of missteps that you may have taken along the way. Because let's be honest, most of them probably were not your fault. Now, some of them were, right? And those of you that have worked with me know that I'm happy to share some of the missteps that I have learned from in my own past. And I think that's really important. We've got to be able as human beings to come to grips with what we've done right or wrong. But I want you to take time to understand what happened, why that situation occurred, and consider how you might have handled that situation differently if you encounter that again in the future. What could you do that would really redirect that energy in a more positive direction? All right? That's all you have to do to reset. Let's take inventory. Let's take a look at what happened. Let's be honest. You might, if you have some people that you trust around you, or maybe you work with a career coach, or you work with somebody, you have a mentor, a good friend, just somebody who's a good listening ear, not somebody that tells you what you want to hear. Not somebody that goes, yeah, it was all their fault, because you know what? It might have been yours, at least in some part. And I just want you to come to grips with what really happened, okay, as you look at that. Now, step 2 in the process, you've got to reload. All right, now, hold on, put down the gun. That's not what I had in mind when I thought you should do something different, okay? This is the place where you have to give some serious thought, not to the past, but what it is that you really want going forward. And what's it going to take for you to get there? Let me give you a couple of ideas. First one here. Honestly decide what you want your future to look like. What's that going to feel like? What will you do differently? Who will you surround yourself with? When will you turn those wishes into actions? And I encourage you, write all of this down. I don't care if you do it electronically. I think it's better to grab a pen and a piece of paper, a blank sheet of paper, clean off a piece of desk, that real estate there, that big mess right in front of you. If you're driving down the road, I don't recommend you do this, but this can be good if you have a digital recorder to actually do this verbally out loud and just have a conversation and then force yourself to go back and listen to it. But I want you to think about what it is that you want, okay? So how will it feel? What will you do differently? Who are you going to surround yourself with? When are you going to turn those wishes into action or make this become your reality? And I want you to write that all down. All right. Now, with that, we've got to take the next step, and that is to set some goals for yourself. Okay. So once you understand what it is that you need to do or you want to do, who needs to be around you, all those critical pieces you just identified, I want you to be deliberate about and intentional about when and where you're going to make that happen. So begin to assign some dates. When will you start doing the first step? When will you aim to complete the 3rd, the 5th, the 10th step? Just put some things with dates on a calendar. You can't just say someday I want to accomplish this, because that day will never come, right? Now, the 3rd step, you probably could guess it from where I was headed. Take deliberate action. Now, let me give you a hint. This is probably the step you passed up somewhere in the past. It's easy to skip. Take for an example. Do you want to ride your bicycle on your first century, your first 100-mile ride? If so, put it on the calendar, register for the ride online, and then add training rides to your actual calendar and track your progress and prep. Maybe you want a new job. Maybe you want to switch careers. Maybe you have unfortunately found yourself out of a job and you're reframing that into an opportunity to go after what it is you really, really want. So if that's the case, schedule some time each week, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, that you're going to look at job postings. You're going to look at your resume. You're going to seek out some new groups to be a part of where you want to volunteer your time or make yourself better in the career that you're in. Maybe you want to become a manager within your organization. You need to be having conversations with people to figure out what is it that a good manager can do that you yet haven't been able to accomplish. And how do you give yourself the opportunity to build those skills, to grow in that position, to go after what it is that you need to make that become your reality. All right. Because I want you to start networking with people. I want you to find a mentor. See, you don't have to leave the company you're in to make this happen. You can do it right where you are right now. But I recognize that some of you are at different places along the spectrum. Some are already out there on your own and you're just kind of grown bored with what you do. All right. It's time for a change. Maybe you want to refocus your energy in a new direction. Maybe you have some new motivation that is inspiring you. Whatever it is, I want you to keep things moving forward and make sure that you are reloading by being clear about where you're going and by changing the people around you so that the messages that you receive are more positive and supportive of the direction you want to go, not giving you accolades and kudos for where you've already been. All right? Now, the 3rd step, ready? I just want you to rock out. If you have done the work to honestly assess where you've been, in other words, how you got where you are right now, and you've identified where it is that you're going, that new course that's shaped by some new, intentional, deliberate action, then this part's easy. Just take the steps to get out of the rut that you're in and make the next year yours. That's the hardest part. Just doing something. All right? So once you've created some new habits, the fruits of those new habits will continue to creep into your life. The old fulfilled you will slowly drift off into the past and become long gone. Sure, there were some good memories there, but there's some better memories and some more incredible opportunities that are ahead. Before you know it, your life will be full of so much satisfaction, so much joy, happiness, accomplishment. You will be living the precise definition of an abundant life. So I encourage you to start thinking right now, say it out loud, what is one big item that you are working to achieve next year? Right? If you'd like, you can send me an email. In fact, I'd love it if you did that, because it would be really cool for you to begin holding yourself accountable. So I'll tell you what, if you will send an email to podcast@ideacharger.com, we will read these in an upcoming episode. We'll just say your first name and what your goal is, all right? And then what I'll encourage you to do, I'll check in with you from time to time throughout the year as you continue to listen to the show, and we'll see how things are going, all right? So that's what I've got for you this week. 3 steps that it takes to get what you want this coming year. Reset, reload, and get ready to rock out. We'll see you next week. If you enjoyed what you just heard, please post your 5-star review and subscribe to Success Charger today. Your future is waiting.